It's Crochet by Hussi's 5th anniversary. When I do like this, it looks like it's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Child, my child is 5 years old. Don't talk to me. Get up on the floor, dancing all night long. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of dawn. Get up on the floor, dancing to the break of dawn. Hello, welcome or welcome back to another Crochet Confessional with Hussi. I know it's been a while, it's been a hot minute. The original intention for this series was to drop at least one every month. Not a lot, right? But life happens, things happened, and I just couldn't put that together because I really did think maybe you guys just want tutorials. But this season, I've decided to stay true to myself and mix it up. Some people want tutorials, but even if it's just one person that sees this video, meaning they search for this, and I will do it for that one person. So to kick off properly, it's Crochet by Hussi's 5th anniversary. So I'm so happy, I'm buzzing, but I would normally do some things around my crochet anniversary, my crochet birthday, that I'm not doing this year, and I decided to chat to you guys about it. I've written some points down, I have notes, and we would go through them together. So these are 5 things, more like 5 lessons I've learned, 5 things I've come to realize during my 5 years of doing crochet as a business. I don't want this video to be long, so we'll get straight into it. Number 1, letting go of performative milestones and choosing long-term vision. So just to tie into the whole not celebrating my anniversary like I normally would, I would usually have a photo shoot, go all out. This year I just didn't feel the urge to, and I would not lie, previous years there are sometimes I didn't feel the urge to, but I felt the need to. I felt like, oh, it's something I've started, it's a pedestal I've stepped upon, it's something people are used to, so I have to give them that. But this year I'm like, they're used to it, so they won't say this year. Life goes on. Like, nobody is really that. I'm not to say people don't care about you or care to see these things. At the end of the day, as much as it's my personal business, it's grown way beyond me. I have a client base, I have customers that love to see my post, and I'm truly grateful and appreciative for that. But it's just like, the world would not end if I don't break the bank, go all out to do what doesn't just feel aligned to me at this point. Needless to say, I have some huge projects going on that we would keep on the wraps for now, but I decided to channel my energy towards that, like do more of that, not doing because a lot has been taking my attention, hence why this project has not even come to fruition. But this time I'm just headstrong, tunnel vision. I want to get this done, and it's my anniversary. I would celebrate it anywhere I choose to, even for my birthday this year.
Funny thing, my birthday is on 22nd of January and my anniversary is on 22nd of July. It was purely coincidental, but it happened to be my half actual birthday.
So for my birthdays, I would also do crochet outfits and just have a full photo shoot. But this year I didn't want to announce nothing. It's not like I wasn't proud of the age I was turning, but I just didn't want to be out there saying, oh, it's my birthday, or have to answer all the wishes. Sometimes it starts to feel not genuine, and I didn't want to do what did not feel genuine to me this year. Like, that's a rock I'm dying on. Anything I'm doing this year resonates with me, comes from the inside, it's guided sort of. I'm not just navigating life doing things because other people are doing them. So I just let go of all these performative milestones and choose to focus on tunnel vision. And how you can apply this lesson, or how you can learn from this, is when you see people or other crocheters doing things, don't do it just because others are doing it. If it doesn't feel like genuine to you, if it doesn't feel like you need to do this as well, don't copy and paste other people, basically, both in designs, both in the way they post, the things they do. As much as people have walked so you can run, it is that, like, they've walked not so you continue walking, so you run. Like, pick from here, pick from there, or put it together and make your own thing. Don't just do things because people are doing it. Which leads me to my second point. I've studied successful creators. That's one thing I have done in my 5-year journey. That's one lesson I have learned, is sitting down and studying these people. And it came with its own challenges. I think I've touched on this on my very first Crochet Confessional. Is that when you see people that are way ahead of you, they've started this thing for the longest, you feel the need to catch yourself and be like, oh, see where they are, look what they do. I can't do that, I don't have that much clients. No, don't do that. Comparison is the thief of all joy, I tell you this fact, like if you start to compare yourself, it's never enough. You don't have enough likes, you don't have enough followers. You can never be like at a point where it's going to be enough. So stop comparing. Just look at these creators to study and learn what has worked for them and how would you apply it in your own specific way to make it work for you. When I stopped doing that, when I stopped comparing myself with these creators and rather try to look into the business aspect of things, try to get what they're doing right and do it for myself, everything changed. What I see now when I see these people is like, what are they doing? How are they navigating business? How are they navigating customers? What type of fiber? What type of yarn? What type of materials are they using? What does the season call for? How do they post their clients' posts? How do they manage client issues? That's all I'm after. I just want to learn from them, like from a good place. It's never like, oh, she has so many clients, I don't have that much clients. When you study crocheters, or like in case you're in another industry, when you study successful creators all around, it's not to compare yourself, it's just to learn from the playbook. Because at the end of the day, it looks like these people are doing something that's working. How can I learn from what they're doing? You have to try to see what they're doing that's working, take out of it. If it works for you, keep up with that. If it doesn't work, drop it. What's this other person doing? How can I learn from that? How can I apply that? Simple. The third point I have here says consistency before breakthrough. This is a lesson as much as it is an advice, because I want everyone to take this. I see a lot of crocheters like start crocheting strong, they are building something and they just stop all of a sudden. It snowballs from the previous point as well of picking or learning from other crochet artists. People I learn from are people that have been in the game for a long while, and that's what I'm learning from them, because they've been consistent. But if you go down, like it's not like they started off like that. I've said this a long time ago. I said in my first crochet confessional, I probably talked about it in my second. You just have to keep going at it till you succeed. That's my favorite quote at the moment. From a book, The Greatest Salesman in the World by O.G. Magdino. It says, I will persist until I succeed. And that is my mantra. I would be consistent until I get whatever I want in life. I would not stop. And some people think it's more like a character trait for people that are consistent, people that like don't get bored of stuff. But it's more a habit I've built over time. I just would not give up if it's a good cause. I literally wrote this on my thread the other day, and I felt the need to pin it because I really think I'll be referring to it someday soon. And that's how I'll wrap up this point. It says, one day I'll go viral on one of my socials, and I don't know which one. The type of viral that brings overwhelming others and returning customers. But I don't know what that day is, and I don't know what that post would be. So I'll keep posting viral worthy content consistently till that day comes along. And when it does, clients seeing my page for the first time would scroll all the way down and see I've got receipts for years. That day would come sooner than later. I wrote that when I was feeling overwhelmed by the whole not getting enough engagement, not getting seen. And I had just seen someone who had gone viral from one post, and her page literally blew up from there. It's like her life changed. Anything happens both positive and negative, because the amount of orders, you have to have systems in place to be able to handle that. But it's like her life changed, and I'm like, I want this for myself. But she wouldn't know the posts that will go viral. Like, there's no telling this thing. You can literally like, oh, this dress is cute, people would like it, of course. But you would never know. You could never tell from the sound. You couldn't tell from the caption. It's not as there are signs. It's never written in stone. People go viral on TikTok every day over like mundane things, doing regular things, doing weird things. There's no one way to get through this thing. So I don't know the post. I don't know the platform. All that I know is that I will go viral one day, and I'll go viral if I keep posting consistently, because I know that's required in the formula. And I just realized I will not stop. If I stop, I will never go viral. I have nothing to lose by being consistent, but I have everything to lose if I don't do anything at all. You get. My fourth point here says, find your niche and accept you cannot do everything. This is one lesson I had to learn the hard way, and I'm still learning. So I recently decided I wasn't going to be doing crochet baby clothing for everybody. I had a lot of troubles with clients. So when doing crochet baby clothing, was always an issue of sizing, fitting, a lot, because I don't know if you make baby clothing, but if you do make baby clothing, I'm so sure you can relate, because I checked around and I wasn't the only one. So I'm like, I can't do this perfectly and I can't do it and get the kind of satisfaction I would want to get from my clients, because end of the day, my client's satisfaction is my business satisfaction. So why not decide I wouldn't do this for everybody? I would do it only selectively. And since then, I've been able to weather out like a few people. When someone reaches out to me randomly, I'm like, I don't do baby clothing, but if they insist or if I know them when they are relatives, I want to gift it out. That's a different scenario. That's a different situation. I also know of people that don't do like menswear. I know people that only do summer outfits. I know people that don't do cardigans. I know people that only do cardigans. If you niche down like to the nichest niche, you'd kill it. I'm not joking, but it's pretty hard to accept that, oh, I won't do this, that when I know I can't do them. But when you realize that I want to choose bralettes, I want to choose crochet bikinis, you imagine you do 100 bikinis when I'm doing 10 tops, 5 shorts, 3 bikinis. You'll be way better than me at doing bikinis, and anybody that wants bikini would come to you. So it's not basically to catch everybody on the internet's attention, because end of the day, you can't get everybody's attention. But when you get the attention of the people your product is fixated for, you get it real good and you do it real well, and that should be one of the goals. So I've accepted I can't do everything, and as much as I'm still trying to niche and narrow down, I want you to also give that possibility. Try to figure out what you're best at and do more of that for now. As much as you're doing other things, you could do more of that for now and slowly narrow down the curve. The more you do that, the better you get. If it's beachwears, do more beachwears. If it's sweaters, do more sweaters. Even baby clothing that I don't do, there are people that do only baby clothing and they are excelling, they are killing it. So find what you want to do and do it well. Much as this might not be at the beginning, it's good as you get better or as you grow in your crochet journey, you find what you want to do and niche down properly with that. And the 5th point here says growth looks different at different stages, so you have to trust your timing. I think this ties it up nicely. It's also self-explanatory. I got my first anniversary, the outfit I wore, then it was killing me. It was crazy in my mind. I'm like, God, I've crocheted. I spent weeks, child. I spent weeks on that outfit. I looked unwind. I did it all, the whole shebang. But now I look back and I can only see that it's good when I look back. You get. But now I would do something and I might not be so satisfied with it. I'll be like, oh, this is not good, this is not A1, this is not excellent. And I just feel like, oh, not so fulfilled. But if me of year 1 looks at me at year 5, she will be so proud, she'll be so happy. So when you want to quantify your growth, basically you have to look at your older self. You're in a competition with the person in the mirror. You're not in a competition with anybody else. So when you're growing, growth looks different for different people at different time and different season. Spells growth to me can be different from what spells growth to you. Growth to you might be getting 1,000 followers. Growth to me now will be getting 10,000 followers on my Instagram. It's different for everybody, and you just have to accept that and know that as much as you're growing, you're evolving. Mind keeps you in this constant loop of, oh, I'm not doing enough. But it's because you're growing and you're getting better. That's the only reason you would think you're not doing enough, basically. So trust your timing. Choose discipline over motivation. Don't wait till you're motivated to go do something. Pick up your hook, create till you find one that hits. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. You're the reason I'm here. YouTube was a dream to me. 1-year-old crochet by Hussi would never have thought she would have a YouTube channel with 4,000 people subscribed to me, sat here giving advice. I would be like, yeah, you're kidding, you don't know what you're saying. But here I am. It's like, I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. 5 years and I still see a long way ahead. I still see like a lot to achieve, a lot to do, and I'm buzzing. Like, I'm really happy because it's just a lot to do. I'm just excited for how much more growth there is in store for Crochet by Hussi. But all this will not be possible without your love, your support, your likes, your subscription, your comments, your kind words. I hope you could take some lessons from all that I've learned in my 5 years. If you want to see more of this type of videos, I'm game, I'm down. Just let me know what you want to hear from me, and I'll sit down and record something just for you. I'll see you in the next one or any of my crochet tutorials. Bye.